Hello, Osseo kindergarten teachers. My name is Peter Brenner. Our time here today is short and we have a lot to cover. So I'm going to go ahead and get right to the point. My goal here today is to provide an introduction to Amplify Science, including information about the standards that you'll see covered and the support you will receive when you choose to pilot Amplify Science next school year. First, what is Amplify Science? Amplify Science is the fastest growing K-5 core science resource in the country. We partner with school districts to deliver an engaging, rigorous, and three-dimensional learning experience. We find that districts adopt Amplify Science when they're in need of an easy-to-use and manage science resource. It's critical that their science resource utilizes a phenomena-based approach and incorporates three-dimensional learning at every level. Third, these districts recognize that not all students learn the same way, and not all students learn something the first time they are exposed to it. So they recognize the need for a multimodal approach in order to reach and engage all learners. And finally, they are looking to support literacy instruction with their science resource. In the next video segment, Tom Gantt, a former science teacher, will provide an overview of our pushes and pulls unit, where your students will take on the role of pinball machine engineers. Two of the kindergarten physical science benchmarks this unit covers will be 2.2.1.1, where students will identify and describe patterns that emerge from the effects of different strengths or different directions of pushes and pulls on the motion of an object. And the second one is 4.1.1.1, where students will construct an argument supported by evidence for whether a design solution works as intended to change the speed or direction of an object with a push or a pull. I'm going to let Tom go into more detail about the unit, but I did want to close with our awesome support for your pilot efforts. When you pilot a unit of Amplify Science, we provide you with the following customized training plan. First, we'll start with our initial training. We'll spend 1 to 1.5 hours to review the planning for the pilot unit. Next, we'll have a pre-instruction training. Prior to the first day of instruction, we'll host a 45-minute session per grade level to review any topics where teachers determine the content to be covered based on their planning. After instruction begins, about 5 to 7 days after the first day of instruction, we'll schedule another 45 minutes with each grade level to cover any topics that pilot teachers wish, as well as review the assessment capabilities of Amplify Science. After about 12 to 14 days of instruction, we'll reconvene for another 45-minute session that will be customized to the teacher's needs based on where they are in the unit. We will also review the upcoming activities that they will see within that unit. And then finally, we'll finish with a unit completion training. And this is normally scheduled for 1 or 2 lessons prior to the end of the unit to review the teacher's experience and answer any outstanding questions. We appreciate the time you are taking to explore Amplify Science. I hope you find the remainder of this video productive, and we look forward to seeing you at the initial training for Amplify Science.
Thank you, Peter, for that great introduction. So now let's dive right into the curriculum, and it all starts with phenomenon. Phenomena is anything that really causes natural curiosity in our students to explain the natural world around them. And so with phenomenon becoming a driver in instructional education today in science, you can see how we're shifting from a one-dimensional approach of topics such as sound waves to now a three-dimensional integration such as dolphins communicating underwater, sea turtles surviving with sharks, or a town having a lot of blackouts. And so it takes away that question that many students have is like, hey, Mr. Gantt, why am I learning this? Well, now we have a meaningful context and it becomes relevant to students when they think about the community and the world at large. And I like to say it's that hook. Our phenomenal hooks include that challenge, that role play, a high interest storyline. It becomes very personal and engaging for our youngest learners. And so with Amplify Science, each unit, students will embed and go on a problem-based deep dive where they're going to be a STEM career person, a scientist or an engineer of some kind, as they're going to unlock these phenomenal real-world problems of how this natural world works. And so with Amplify, students are going to be scientists and engineers every day in your classroom. For example, in kindergarten, students get to be a pinball machine engineers as they explore the forces of pushes and pulls in this amazing hands-on physical science unit. So why choose Amplify Science? Well, we are a phenomena-based approach using 21st century tools and resources to gather evidence in different ways in the way that science really works today. We're also designed for the standards from the Lawrence Hall of Science. We have highly effective teacher planning and assessment tools to make your life easy. I call it a 3-step prep, which I'll get into. And of course, reading and literacy integration is so important for emerging readers to be able to understand informational text and how to get science information from that text. And so let's start by talking about how we are built for three-dimensional learning. So the Lawrence Hall of Science, known as LHS for short, has been making high-quality educational programs for over 50 years. Amplify was developed with the authorship team of the Lawrence Hall of Science after the new standards were finalized, and therefore really hitting all three parts of that instructional shift. And so when we talk about this three-dimensional approach, I'm going to show you how we have woven it through every unit, chapter, and lesson. So a quick review. Over here in orange, we have those disciplinary core ideas, things such as earth, life, and physical science, and also engineering tasks. Now we have science and engineering practices. These are action items, such as designing investigations, coming up with solutions to engineering problems. Also scientific discourse and communication and gathering data. In addition, we have cross-cutting concepts, things such as patterns, cause and effect, scale, proportion. We bring it all together with an anchoring phenomenon. So what does that look like? In our teacher guides, we provide these example three-dimensional statements. You can see how it's color-coded with each of those domains, practices, core ideas, and cross-cutting concepts. And you can see here, students plan and carry out investigations to determine how force affects the movement of an object and its direction and distance. So our core ideas are wrapped around and built into this very understandable three-dimensional statement. At the lesson level, they're shorter. So here, students are going to use models and then draw diagrams of pinball machines. They're box models, as they're going to try to make the pinball start to move. A lot of teachers in our program make that an I can statement, a very powerful learning objective for our students. So now let's talk about the exceptional program components. And my alter ego, Teacher Tom, is going to guide you through all the great features that you get as a teacher. Hello, Osseo kindergarten teachers. I am Tom the teacher, and I am super excited to show you all the amazing teacher tools and student resources that you'll be using to teach Amplify Science. This program makes teaching science very easy and practical for you, and it makes learning science and engaging fun for your students. With Amplify, your kindergartners will be going on a problem-based deep dive with each of the units and answering relevant questions to real-world phenomenal problems. Over the course of these 3 units, students will explore phenomena as plant scientists, pinball machine engineers, and weather scientists. Planning is simple. Each unit has 22 lessons, so you'll have a total of 66 lessons to teach for the academic year. Now let's take a look at the teacher instructional materials that bring these amazing units to life. As an example, I will be using the unit Pushes and Pulls, where students explore forces in a unique way, but know that all the units have similar design and resources. The design of the Amplify units is clear and easy to understand. The unit has several chapters, each chapter has lessons, and every lesson has a series of activities. As you see here, this lesson has 4 activities, starting with a hands-on investigation, leading to a student-to-student discussion. And in Activity 3, the teacher will lead a classroom explanation and then conclude the lesson with a whole class reading activity. You're going to love all the great Amplify teacher materials. You can plan your way with either the print or digital teacher's guide. I like using both. And making my science wall is easy with the great print resources, such as the unit and chapter questions and all the vocabulary cards. The materials are printed on heavy cardstock, and they are available in both Spanish and English. Talk about easy! Amplify provides teachers a quick prep time with classroom slides, engaging, high-level PowerPoints for every single lesson that you can download and be ready to teach within minutes. The slides include visual cues, embedded images, videos, and so much more. As you see here, the notes of the slide include teacher actions, supporting dialogue, and even formative assessments. Speaking of assessments, Amplify provides a range of formative assessment types from pre-unit, chapter critical junctures, and on-the-fly quick checks. A great tool for kindergarten teachers is the Clipboard Assessment Tool, which is a talk-based check for the little ones who are still learning to write but can verbally demonstrate their understanding. Each unit ends in a performance task and a summative assessment. All these resources make teaching in a 5E fashion super easy. The units and lessons are crafted to engage students right away with a video or an activity. It's all built around the phenomenal real-world problem. Students will then explore, explain, and elaborate to construct deeper meaning and understanding until they are able to be evaluated for true depth of knowledge, and with an application of what they've learned to a new scenario. Now, let's look at the student materials that make learning fun. Students will be writing and drawing in their very own investigation notebook, just like real scientists do. They will also be engaged in literacy strategies as they explore 5 to 6 unique titles with every unit. Teachers get all these same great titles as mega large flip books, so kindergarten teachers can read to their students on their carpets. Finally, students will love investigating with all the great hands-on materials that are included. Each of these components will serve a purpose to blend the science standards with high-quality teaching methods. In addition, the student readers are also available digitally for students. Amplify Science will have students exploring hands-on activities from 30 to 40% of the time, so they can use these experiences to construct deeper meaning and ideas to solve the questions around the phenomenal storylines. All these great resources come in easy-to-use bins. So for kindergarten, you'll be using the resources seen here. Some units, such as pushes and pulls, come with the main materials bin, but also include extra boxes containing all the pre-cut cardboard and other materials needed to build the pinball machines. Amplify Kids are very generous and supply enough hands-on and print materials for a class of 36 students. But unlike other companies that supply limited materials where teachers end up with large student groups of 8 or 9, Amplify gives enough material for group sizes of 2 to 4 students, making their hands-on experiences that much more impactful. This also means enough materials for 72 uses and over 2 or more years worth of supplies. With all these great resources, you can watch your students have fun and show how they can inquire, model, quantify, read, talk, write, critique, and argue like real scientists. In addition to all those cool things that Teacher Tom mentioned, we've also added remote and hybrid learning support. So whether students are online at home with access to technology, like our student on the left there, or students on the right who don't have as much technology at home, but still can work through our program in a print-based fashion. So one of the coolest things we've added is what's called at-home units. So basically, this is a guest teacher coming into your classroom in a video. These are teachers that are experienced Amplify Science teachers. They recorded themselves using all of our resources modified for remote learning. You can see the value in this. You can send the at-home video link directly to students. You can use it as a model for how you might want to deliver a lesson. It's great for absent students, substitute teachers, and it's a great resource that I think is even valuable post-pandemic. In addition, we have these at-home units. These are packet-based print materials that you can send out as a full unit or just individual lessons in case you need to make those modifications for IEPs or for students with less technology and digital device access. Also, we have a lot of great hands-on components in our material kits. But what if you can't do those in experiments and hands-on investigations? Well, we do have a video playlist of every investigation that students would be doing. So they can watch other students perform the investigation and collect that data to make those evidence-based claims. In addition, I think these are great for even if you have students in front of you, showing it as a model or a different way to maybe do that investigation than what they might have come up with on their own. And finally, we have these read aloud videos of all of our text. So our text exists in different formats, which I will cover, but we also now have a read aloud playlist video list where a teacher reads the text to students and flips through it with the correct intonation and all those ways in which teachers bring to life scientific text. So all of this is located in our redesigned program hub. I'm going to guide you to where you can find this resource in your demo accounts. Here I am in my demo account as a teacher. I'm going to go up to the upper left. I call this my 3 stacks, my navigation hamburger. I'm going to open that up, and then we're going to look for at the very bottom, past all these tools, other curriculum that I might have loaded, past my science apps, and down here under additional resources, you will find the Program Hub. This is a very important place to visit because the Program Hub will take you to all those remote and hybrid learning resources, our professional development, and our enrichment program. In addition, I suggest checking out the Science Program Guide. This goes deep and dives really into every detailed facet of our program, and a great place if you really want to get a better understanding of particular topics that go beyond what we're going to be talking about in this video. As I mentioned, the books come accessible in multiple forms. Obviously in print, you will get those in your materials kits. You also have the digital student-directed read aloud. In a digital account, students can press play. They can control all the features of the text. Also, the video read aloud are read to by an experienced teacher. And then also, anytime there's text involved in our lessons, they're already embedded, the text images and the pages in the classroom slides, those PowerPoints and Google Slides that you can use to teach the lessons. In addition, we really want to tap into what students know about science. So you're going to be creating a couple anchor charts with the unit. After the pre-unit assessment is given, you're going to create what we think we know and in our experience anchor chart. The value of this is really to tap into what students already experience and their ideas as they move forward through each chapter and add to that experience and those ideas. And at the end of chapters, students are going to engage in discussions. These charts are going to be focal points in the classroom that keep that science dialogue and that science growth mindset in place in a visual form. So let's cover the Amplify science learning approach, where we really shift the instructional focus off of you as a teacher and really let the students figure out, not just learn about these particular phenomenon. So you're going to kick off the unit by introducing that real world problem, and students are going to collect evidence from those different multiple ways of collecting evidence in those different sources until they can really build up their foundational knowledge and really show depth of understanding. This is all done through a scaffolded learning process called a progress build. And this is very important because it provides an access point for all learners. So let's say in progress build 1, in pushes and pulls, an object starts moving when a force is exerted on it. So students are going to learn that very basic principle, and they're going to be able to understand that through the hands-on, through the reading and the discussion. Then as they move up, progress build 2, stronger forces act. If a stronger force acts on an object, it goes farther. So now we're putting more force on it. The force goes farther. And along the way, you're also giving formative assessments and critical juncture assessments at the end of each chapter. By level 3, an object starts to move in the direction that the force is exerted on it. So now we're putting direction. And then finally, we can change that direction of a moving object and make it maybe even making it become a still object. And so we're really incorporating a lot of different dynamics as we move up this knowledge progress build. The way in which our students acquire this information is called do, talk, read, write, visualize. This is research-based. It has a strong foundation and proven very effective. So do means hands-on. Students are going to have that hands-on experience. Then we're going to provide them with 8 different discourse routines to talk science and really share out their understanding and ask questions. Then they're going to read, obviously with guided reading from a teacher in kindergarten. And we have those unique readers that they're going to access that text and get more information from. And then they're going to write. Now, in kindergarten, it may be a lot of drawing, and maybe writing one word, but they're going to draw out their models of their pinball machines and really share what their plans are and what they're learning. And then they're going to visualize with the multimedia and interactive modeling that becomes so integrated into the classwork. This fits the 5E model of science education, which is very, very well known. It spans the lessons and also units, but the Lawrence Hall of Science really wanted to go deeper and hit different modalities with that do, talk, read, write, visualize process. And at the end of a unit, we twist things up on the students a little bit. So let's say they figure out this anchoring phenomenon about how to design a pinball machine, and they end up building a bigger version in their classroom model. Let's extend that thinking. And they're going to have an application phenomenon. So the class is going to go on an in-class school field trip, and they're going to gather evidence of other forces, and they're going to apply what they learned, whether they think that force was great or small, whether the object moved a lot or a little bit. And so they're going to take what they learned and apply it to a new situation, showing a true depth of understanding. So with Amplify Science, students really do figure out, not just learn about. So now let's go into my 3-step prep. 1, you're going to visit the lesson brief, scan it for quick information. 2, get the materials from your kit. And 3, download your classroom slides or copy the Google Slides version. So what does that look like? I'm now going to jump over to my digital platform to show you. So now I'm going to dive into my pushes and pulls unit right here with my 22 lessons. I'm going to go into chapter 1, and let's go into lesson 1.2. So here is my lesson brief. So maybe I want to go ahead and look at the materials and prep and things I need to get out. So today I need a foam ball and some other items, my print materials for my classroom wall. And I have different learners in my classroom. So I'm going to look at differentiation really quick and how I can support different types of learners. And every lesson does have this unique differentiation brief that is very lesson specific. It'll have supports for diverse learners, any potential challenges in the lesson, specific differentiation strategies for English learners and students who need more support, and also honor students. We have strategies for students who need more challenge, because you will have students finish early. And as you know, if you don't give them something to do, they can become quite disruptive. And so here we provide that differentiation brief. So I get my materials, I scan that brief to make sure I'm set to teach all my different types of learners. And then I come over to the right and download my classroom PowerPoint. That PowerPoint is going to flow exactly in the sequence, including all the materials needed for the hands-on, student-to-student discussion, the explaining teacher-led discussion, and then a reading assignment. That is exactly all you'll do for that 3-step prep, and you're ready to teach this lesson. In addition, we do support not just the teachers, not just the students, but all those caregivers at home. We do have a dedicated caregiver website and a helpline where parents, family members can contact us by email, by phone, even on weekend hours. And also there's questions embedded for at-home discussions, because many times a parent will ask a student, what'd you learn today in science? And it's too open-ended, but here we have guided questions for our different units that parents can actually ask their students and engage with at home. So we want to support all stakeholders in the process of learning how to work and learn with Amplify Science. And that includes teachers with our professional development plans. So we would plan in-person workshops, virtual workshops, embedded video supports are already there. We have a live chat button for you to access immediate help when you need it. And so we really want to make sure we support you in a pilot process as well as a full implementation. And so why choose Amplify Science? Well, we are that phenomena-based approach. We're using 21st century tools and resources in ways that really make learning exciting. We're designed for 3-dimensional learning, so you don't have to be an expert. Our experts from the Lawrence Hall of Science have done all that hard work for you. Our teacher planning and assessment tools really make it a 3-step prep process, which makes it very easy to teach. And then, of course, we really embed literacy and reading integrated into the program. Many of our districts have shown not only science test scores improve, but reading and writing as well. So with that, I thank you for taking time today with me and hope to see you soon.